So now that we showed left side pressure out of the $326, we're going to take a look at right side pressure out of another great formation, Big Dime 236 Will. Now there's four plays that I like to use, and they are a variety of coverages. We've got Mike Edge 2, which is cover 2, Mike Edge 3, which is cover 3, Mike Edge 1 or Mike Edge, I forget the exact name of it, which is the man version, which is really situational for me. That's the one that I'll go to every once in a blue moon. I definitely prefer Mike Edge 2 and Mike Edge 3. And then my favorite, which is actually cover 3 Sky, which is what we're looking at here. And the setup is very simple. We're going to baseline, bump and run, and it's actually going to be very similar to what we ran out of the dollar, except this time, instead of bluff blitzing the left side guy, we can actually just put him on his own. Now, you're going to see in the gameplay footage here that I do bluff blitz him still quite a bit. That's just because I always am labbing when I'm playing games, but as you can see here, we manned up that guy on the left side receiver, and we're still screaming. So for me, I guess just out of habit, I probably still do bluff blitz most of the time. But we're again only sending 4 here out of the cover 3 Sky, and we're screaming. So the setup is base align, bump and run, man, zone, bluff blitz, the left screen defensive end. Then we want to re-blitz the right screen linebacker, middle linebacker that you see right there. And then we also want to make sure that our middle linebacker on the left is in man or zone. And again, this can be done out of Mike Edge 2, Mike Edge 3, Mike Edge, which is the man version, and then my favorite, which is cover 3 Sky. And again, like always, it's important to figure out who it is that you want to user and get your maximum coverage out of it. We're only sending 4 guys. So really, if they're in a passing situation and they're passing for sure and not really blocking any extra guys, there's no excuse to not get a stop. Anytime I don't get a stop out of this, I'm for sure very disappointed because we're only sending 4 and we should be screaming at the quarterback. Now, some of the formations, some of the blitzes this year, because of 5 wide and the way that 5 wide is, I find the blocking in 5 wide to be a little bit different. And the Big Dime 236 Will here that we're running is perfect against 5 wide. So this is one of my favorite formations to go to when they're running 5 wide. I can run the man version just to make sure that they're not getting screens, off on me. I'll use the safety that's in the deep blue when I run the man version just to be a little safe. Here we're running Mike Edge 3, as you can see, just, we're mixing up our coverages, our mans, our zones. We're playing it safe, make sure that we don't, get beat deep, even though, had he had any extra time, he would have saw that the guy that we manned up on the right side actually was going to get off the bump and be open for a potential touchdown. So because of that, one thing that I want to mention in this video, and I'm going to do it in the write-up for the $326 Max Sting 3, is, this is gameplay footage that's relatively older. It takes me so long to collect gameplay footage, especially here. I mean, we're working on 6.5 minutes of gameplay footage of blitzes that are 8 seconds. So it's a ton of examples showing you that this works over and over and over and over again. And because of the fact that we have that, it's symmetrical. Dollar and the Big Dime 236, it looks like we could be blitzing either guy. So in dollar, which is very, very similar, only a guy that really pays attention to detail and notices that the left screen guy is standing up, or whatever the difference is, you're going to have to be playing someone that's really paying attention to detail. So if you're mixing it up, going between dollar and the Big Dime, your opponent's not going to know if you're coming from the left or you're coming from the right. The dollar offers far more consistency from the left side, and the Big Dime 236 offers far more consistency from the right side. So that's why I like to do it. Now, I do believe that safeties in hard flats are one of the best zones in the game. I feel like they're so sneaky. Unless you're playing someone that their first read is not looking at any offensive or defensive player in the box, and they actually are reading the safeties first, which is rare. That those hard flats that come down, I mean, the amount of picks that I've gotten running that is ridiculous. Now, again, here we can always run max coverage. There's times where we don't need to blitz the slot. If we feel like, oh, we're in a situation where we don't feel like our guy is going to come free, then we can just man or zone everyone up. And that's a good thing to do. You know, you don't want to come out of the gate. I don't believe anyway. You don't want to come out of the gate just showing your hand right away. Oh, I'm blitzing from the left or the right, you know, when I come out in this. Play coverage. Give them the same look. Play some coverage. Let's see what they can do. You know, here's the man version. Let's see what our opponent's going to throw at us. And let's let him show his hand before we show ours. Then we'll start to play, you know, the blitz and stuff like that. So that's what I like to run. One thing I'm going to say I actually forgot to mention is I use triangle, then X, then the button either square or circle and up on the right stick to back off coverage so we don't get beat deep.